everyone, welcome to this video. This video is just going to be the best recording settings for OBS Studios in 2025. So as you can see here, I have OBS launched up. The first thing you want to do is go into your settings, and this is all typical to you. All the general tab is just personally to you. That shouldn't matter in any ways. But when you go to your output, most of the time this output mode will be set to advanced or simple. You want to change that over to advanced and go into your recording tab. Now, this can vary on what editing software you use or like what computer you have. But if you want to start off very basic, if you're recording with two audio tracks like I do, because I use one for my face cam and then I use one for the actual video being displayed, I would recommend an MKV. You can always remux that into an MP4 or whatever, or export that out of your editing software and do any file format you would like. But the most important key point here is going into your video encoder. So AOM AV1 is restricted to, I think, the 4000 series cards or better, around that range. HEVC, you don't really see it typically used because it's not really accepted in a lot of editing programs. But if you want to give that a shot, you can. Just make sure that your editing program works with HEVC. My personal option would be H.264, but you have to have a NVIDIA graphics card. If you don't, if you have like a AMD or Intel like system, there should be another option. I don't know exactly what the AMD build is called, but that's besides the point. For audio encoder, I usually just leave this on FFmpeg AAC. It's pretty much the best one you can get just starting out. If you're using a higher resolution and you want to rescale it to something smaller, you can use this rescale option and rescale. But since my display is a 1920 by 1080, I can't rescale at all. Now this is where it's most important. This is all based to your PC. I'm going to explain everything in words that you guys will be able to understand. It's a little technical and it took me a bit to figure it out, but if you go over to rate control, you get a option. You never want to go with lossless unless you have the best of the best specs. I personally haven't used it, but you can use constant bitrate, but personal choice is constant QP. If you're using constant bitrate at, I think 1080p 60 is just around the range of 12,000 to 16,000, but YouTube does decrease how much bitrate is being put into your video, so I just keep constant mind on that. This chart here will show you everything that you need and what card and what bitrate you should be running depending on what FPS and what output you're running. But for me, I use a constant QP. Constant QP is keeping a constant bitrate throughout the whole entire thing, or a constant quality level. And usually for 1080p 60, you want to keep it around the range of 15 to 20. If you go above 20, that's where you start losing quality. So a lot of people get this mixed up. The lower this number goes, the higher quality you get, but the higher it goes, the more quality you lose. So 20, you can notice a little bit of tearing and a little bit of pixelation and artifacts here and there. But if you lower it down and it starts to make your PC lag, I would just recommend testing, doing little 10-second test clips to figure out what your constant QP level is recommended at. Right now I have mine at a solid 15. I haven't really noticed anything about the quality if you go any lower than 15. I haven't seen like any massive like different changes. There's no artifacts or extra pixels that you can see, but I would just keep that at a 15. Keyframe interval, I would just keep it to 0. It automatically does it for you. There's not really a reason to mess with that unless you have an idea of the keyframe interval on your video. Preset. So a lot of people just do P1 to P4. That's where you're losing all your quality, unfortunately. Yes, running it at a P1 makes your computer run buttery smooth all the time. But if you're running, I would recommend running between P5 and P7. P5 and P7 keep a really high quality video. P5 is just for the little bit lower end PCs. I run P7 because I don't see any quality hitches, but then again, that is just a personal PC view. For tuning, you can do ultra low latency, but I would recommend keeping it on high quality just because you're trying to get the most out of your videos without any tearing, any artifacts, anything messing up. Multipass mode, I haven't seen a huge difference between quarter resolution, full resolution, and single pass. I just use full resolution just in case, but it's personally up to you. You guys can test and see what the difference is. Profile, you always want to keep this on high. This just makes sure that your processes are all running at 100% and you're getting a good balance between you playing and the video recording actually getting decent quality. Turn off look ahead. No matter what you do, it'll increase the quality, but it will use a lot more of the utilization of your GPU and the latency. I haven't noticed too much about latency issues, but I would just keep that off. And then adaptive quantization, don't know if I'm saying that right, but I would recommend keeping this on. It optimizes whatever encoder you're using to run at the best possible frame rates and make sure you're not dropping frames. If you go into your audio tracks, you can mess with this. I personally don't. So this is my track 1, this is my track 2, and I just kind of name them. There's not really much there to do other than change the audio bitrate and the output, but I don't really see a difference between 160 and 320. Video, it's all personal preference, like putting in your desktop audio. I have mine disabled because I capture the individual audio on every source. The mic, you can select your mic. I use my microphone effects so that you can hear my buttery smooth voice all the time. For video tab, I would recommend putting it at the highest possible option you have. If you do have higher than 1080, you can rescale it down to 1080 if you just want to have a higher resolution, but scale it down. That'll increase quality a little bit. I obviously haven't tested it just because I'm running a 1080p monitor. Keep the values at 60. And that should result in buttery smooth quality throughout all of your processes. If you're having troubles getting OBS to run at a stable frame rate, you can always tweak and tweak and tweak. It's all about just finding what's right for you. But I recommend these settings. These settings have worked perfectly for me. These settings result in me getting a better frame rate and getting everything to look buttery smooth. It is dependent on your editing software and how you use it. And YouTube's compression is unfortunately terrible. So if you're having troubles with that, you can always upscale your video to 1440p and YouTube will just recognize it as a 1080p video and use the VP9 encoder. And that always saves a ton of issues on artifacts and minor details. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.